to see so many customers joining and many familiar names there. Thank you for making the time. I think we'll get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is the Fusion ERP Analytics application release overview for 24R2. My name is Ash Bajpai. If you go to the next slide, Rama. Just a quick look at the safe harbor. We are going to be doing a little bit of talk about some forward-looking features, and I'll show a quick look at the roadmap as well, which is a constant ask from our customers because you would like visibility into our roadmap. So important that we flash the safe harbor statement. But for the most part, the features we'll talk about are going to be 24R2 features, which are available now. Here are the folks, the colleagues of mine who are joining this conversation today and will be presenting. Shobana takes leads on projects and financial analytics. Sushil is our product manager, lead product manager on financials. Rama covers procurement. And I just have the privilege to work with everybody here, and I take lead on finance and supply chain analytics. Jamie plays a really important role as our community leader. She's also the co-host for Customer Advisory Board, and many of you are familiar with Jamie. Next slide. In terms of agenda, what we have planned today, we will take a quick look at the roadmap, and then we'll dive into financials, projects, and procurement features overview. We do have some common features, so we'll talk about that towards the end as well. We do have a packed agenda, so I'll keep walking us through the first few slides here to keep us on time. Just quick context and logistics. We do have Fusion Data Intelligence. Fusion ERP Analytics is part of that FDI family. We do have releases. We do every quarter. So we have 4 releases in the year, application and platform releases. This session is focused on the 24R2 application release, which got shipped out a couple of weeks back. The slides we're sharing here, we will make that available on Customer Connect. Our goal is to make Customer Connect as the place where we'll share content like this, and we will organize more events so that we are really providing information about our releases, our features there. Feel free to log any ideas that you would like us to work on as well. Product documentation is always a great starting point when we talk about releases. We do have a section called What's New. If you haven't looked at it, please go check it out, because a lot of what we are going to be sharing today is available to you right now when you go to What's New and you look at the product documentation. You will have the ability to ask questions. Please use the Q&A feature to do that, and we will be answering questions throughout the session. The session itself is getting recorded, and we'll make the recording available on Customer Connect as well. Next slide. Just a quick look at our roadmap. Like I mentioned, we are going to be talking about 24R2. We've been firing on all cylinders, releasing features across financials, procurement, and project. On the financial side, we've done a lot of work on CAA. So we'll have Sushil talk about that. Employee expenses have some key enhancements. Under procurement, we've done some work on accrual balances, mostly in the receipt accounting space. Rama will talk about that. On projects, there has been an ask in the past from some of our key customers around labor distribution and labor schedule. That's a really important capability that we have released with 24R2. Shobana will talk about that. And when we start looking at upcoming bucket, this speaks to the work that we are doing right now, which will land sometime in next couple of releases. We are working on Accounting Hub. Accounting Hub Analytics, if you remember, was a new offering we launched back in January. There are some important enhancements that we are doing there. For public sector, hired customers, encumbrance is important. That's something which is under works. On the project front, we are also working on project billing events. There is a lot more work that we are doing on the upcoming bucket. We have already started thinking about the future bucket as well. If you have any feedback on our roadmap, if you have features you would like us to pick up, I would encourage you to use Idea Lab and start posting your ideas there. With that, we'll dive into financials. Sushil?
Thank you very much, Ash, for that context. We'll start with the updates on financial analytics. First, I would like to talk about the features that we delivered on configurable account analysis CA feature, which is our cross-finance capability for all your account analysis use cases where you would like to look at your data between GL and various subledgers, what we support in FDI. So we have added support for descriptive flex fields. This really helps customers where they have been seeking for support for DFFs and the information what they're capturing on subledger side as well as GL. So we are supporting full-fledged DFFs across all the functional areas what are supported in CAA, where you would see DFFs around payables, supported around invoices and payments information, suppliers. If we talk about receivables, you would get to see DFFs around AR transactions, customers, receipts. Similarly, the list goes on around projects, project contracts, labor distribution, or even cost accounting DFFs around inventory information, etc. So DFFs support how you can leverage this feature essentially for all the journal sources what you have in CA template. Corresponding to that, you would be able to use the DFFs. If you are already using CA functionality before 24 auto release, to get the benefit of this feature, you need to edit the CA template as a author with the functional administrator privilege. When you edit, you would be able to select these DFFs based on your journal source selection. All the labels which you see here are curated, as I mentioned. You can pick and choose depending on your need and publish the template. You should be able to see those DFFs in the CA template or CA subject area. Apart from that, we have been expanding on attributes coverage since we went GA with this feature a few releases back. This time we have added support for various attributes around legal entity, purchasing related attributes where we had PO receipt date, receipt number, line number information, which is even supported for payable source now. On customers, we have added various attributes apart from bill to ship to customer, which have already been there. Similarly, you will see supplier account group attribute, which is added under supplier folder. And on journal details, we are supporting batch statuses, considering we have support for both posted and unposted data now. And apart from that, there was a fix which we had done for supplier attribute on receipt accounting journal source. That's been the expansion on attribute coverage. Apart from that, a couple of important features which you normally get to see on other features in FDI, which is semantic model extension. We know customers love using our extensibility capabilities, and we wanted to make sure that flexibility is there for even CA feature. So wherever you have been using certain common dimensions around GL segments where you have extended, let's say, your cost center dimension with additional attributes, and you would like to get that benefit even in CA subject area, it is pretty much supported now. And apart from that, if you want to move your CA configurations between instances, because we understand it can be really time consuming effort to recreate the CA template between test and production or different environments. Using bundles functionality, you can easily migrate or deploy these templates into different environments, which is part of the platform upgrade, which has been out recently this week. Moving on to other features. On fixed assets, we have an enhancement, which is support for unaccounted asset transactions. Please note it's a limited availability feature. So essentially, if we look at assets transaction subject area, which we already had existing in FDI for ERP, we have been supporting accounted transactions. However, asset analysis subject area gives you the details of all your asset position. But when we talk about the transactions or the asset activity, it was only on accounted basis. We had a few customers requesting for this functionality where, the instance where you create the transactions, and after that, for various reasons, if the accounting programs are running at a later date or towards the end of the month, you don't necessarily want to wait to see the new asset additions or the activity which is happening during the month for various fixed assets. To make sure there's no dependency on accounting program, we have added this new capability in the form of assets unaccounted transactions functional area. As I said, it's a limited availability feature currently. And you would see a set of new metrics around unaccounted capabilities. So it doesn't really impacts or all the capabilities or reports what you had already on assets. For example, if you're enabling this functionality, you would get to see all the unaccounted information supported through a separate separate set of metrics. And to really leverage this feature and distinguish between your accounted and unaccounted records, you have accounted indicator, which apart from that, if we talk about metrics, as I mentioned, all your critical metrics are supported, but there are a bunch of metrics around depreciation expense, reserve, and bonus depreciation, which are accounting driven. So you would get to see these metrics only in the post accounting format. Apart from that, if we talk about current cost metric, this metric again had dependency on depreciation program earlier. And when we do any assets financial inquiry, current cost, what you see in Fusion is independent of depreciation process. So again, there's an alignment what we have done on this metric. So those are the enhancements what we have on fixed assets. Moving on to employee expenses. Now this feature it goes really in depth in terms of the data what we were capturing. Earlier, we had only expense reports which were invoiced or ready for payment. Now you get to see all expense reports through various stages being supported here. Basically, all right since the process of creation of expense reports, be it let it be in saved status or various stages of approval, you would get to see these expense reports, and to support that, there are several attributes which are added to support the various stages of expense reports around audits, verification, and even the approval cycle time or the date when the approvals are initiated, etc. Apart from that, there are certain metrics which are added in the document currency as well as reimbursement currency for a receipt, per diem, and which is essentially receipt amount, reimbursement amount, and per diem amount. So these are the metrics what you have in employee expenses subject area. On top of this, the existing ML capability what we had as a limited availability feature. Now here essentially we support all your expensed or invoiced expense reports. When we look at the process of employee expenses which are captured, there is an audit process generally which is in place which takes care of all your employee expenses which gets invoiced and paid. So this employee expense anomaly detection feature really helps in form of a complementary audit where there's an automated screening and detection of your all expense reports where it tries and identify the anomaly for all the expense reports which are invoiced, where essentially we look at all your invoice line distributions across various expense type and give you an automated anomaly report. So again, this is a limited availability feature where if you are using already employee expense capability functional area, this feature can be enabled if needed. Moving on to the updates in AP holds. This feature currently prior to 24R2 in AP holds, we have been supporting the current statuses of all the holds which have been applied to invoices. Now, with this enhancement, we have added support for historic holds. Essentially, if a particular invoice has been on hold in past, and if that hold has been released, you essentially used to lose the visibility of what was the hold at a particular point of time, or maybe what were the reasons for that hold and all the analysis which you want to do in terms of for how long that hold has been outstanding. To really support all the historic hold related analysis where you would like to do comparison of holds across different hold types, or even periodic comparison of holds, this capability could come really handy, where you can go and look at all your past holds information, and this is supported up to 24 periods. So all the holds which have been applied and released, or currently the hold is continued, you can leverage this feature where you can look at the holds trend. And apart from that, we had several enhancements or attribute additions which we did in AP subject areas. These enhancements are in the form of approval attributes, what we added to AP invoices subject area, where you would have approval history related information available in the form of who were the approvers, requester, what were the approval actions taken for these invoices. So this essentially helps you to get the analysis of approval cycle time, what you had related to your AP invoices. Again, this functionality has been requested by multiple customers. Apart from that, payable source code, that's the common addition which has been done on all the subject areas where we have AP invoices supported. Apart from that, on AP payments, where you would like to do a cross comparison of information between AP payments and AP invoices, you have invoice header related DFFs supported now. For payables aging functional area, where we had the capability to support backdated invoices, there's a scheduled full refresh which is required and now supported to kind of accommodate any backdated invoices which you may have on AP front. Shobana, you want to go next?
Sure. Thanks, Sushil.
You can share, Shobana.
Sure. Let me share my screen. All right. So moving on to receivables, we'll look at the enhancements that we have done in this release. Receivables aging by accounting date has been a preview feature since 22.R3, and we have been continuously making enhancements to this. This is now the default AR aging functionality. Previously, in order to use this functionality, you'll have to enable the preview feature and activate a separate functional area. That is no longer required. Along with the accounts receivables functional area, all of the required tables will be populated, and you will be able to use the existing AR aging subject area to do the analysis. Similar to our old aging, the receivables aging by accounting date is also going to have only accounted activities. The difference is the snapshots are going to be based on the accounting date, which helps you reconcile with GL. So if you look at your receivables balance in general ledger, want to understand what are all the outstanding receivables for a particular period, then you can look at your AR aging, and we have like 24 months of snapshots, so you can use that and understand what were those invoices. In the AR aging, as you know, we support invoices, credit memos, debit memos, unapplied receipts, and starting this release, we are also supporting unidentified receipts aging. We have also added original amount metric along with the outstanding amount. You can use this to analyze the outstanding transactions and understand what was the original, the invoice amount or the receipt amount, and how much is still remaining. right? Future activity amount is another metric that we have added. So for customers where you may account certain transactions in a future period, like invoice in arrears, or if you happen to account certain transactions in a future period, then this future activity amount will show what is that accounted amount, but this is something that is going to be available only in the current snapshot. We also added a few attributes: ship to customer, bill to collector, customer purchase order number, bill to customer side, ship to customer, DFFs. All of these are available in the presentation layer. In addition to this, we have added the overdue days and the open days in the logical layer in case you need it for any of your customization. Similar to AP aging, which Sushil explained, receivables aging functional area can be used if you want to do a full load of just the aging data instead of doing a full load of the entire accounts receivables functional area, which goes across the various facts. You can just do a full load of AR aging, and that can be like a scheduled process, based on your business needs, so that any backdated transactions are included in the appropriate snapshots. So that's on the AR aging functionality. In addition to this AR aging, what we have done in this release is added a couple of metrics in AR transactions subject area. Now, AR transaction subject area, as you know, is it's a scheduled grain, and we have been supporting the transaction amount in this subject area. If you have activated unaccounted AR transactions functional area, you would be able to see both the accounted and the unaccounted transactions in AR transactions in AR revenue, right? So this is one of those subject areas where you can see both accounted and unaccounted data. Now, this new metric that we have added, which is the remaining amount, gives you what is the current remaining amount. It includes all activities, whether it's accounted or unaccounted. So if you have an invoice that is created and if there is a receipt that is not yet accounted but applied, those applications are also included when looking at the remaining amount. So depending on your business need, if you want to know what is the current remaining amount, irrespective of what is accounted and not accounted, you can use the AR transaction subject area going forward. But if you're using the AR aging subject area, it will be calculating the outstanding amounts using the accounted activities. Right. Just want to quickly highlight that the old aging tables will no longer be populated. So in case if you have any customizations, you would want to move to the new AR aging tables. We had highlighted this a couple of releases back as well, and the details of this is available in the release documentation. All right, so next let's look at budgetary control. Now, this is a feature that we released in 23.R4. This is a limited availability feature. And so if you're interested in using this feature, you would request for this to be activated in your environment. There are two subject areas that are available: budgetary control balances and budgetary control transactions. So those are two subject areas that will be available, and we support control budgets that are defined at the ledger as well as the project level. So both are supported. And the budgetary control balances will give you the ability to analyze control budget balances, initial budget, your adjustments, total budget, what is the consumption or overall consumption, how much of it is commitment, obligation, or expenditure. All of these can be analyzed at the budget account and period level. In addition to that, you obviously have the ledger, project, award, and all of those. If it's a project based control budget, then those project and award attributes will also be available. So that's on the balances, and transactions will give you the details on what are those budgetary control transactions that have passed the funds check, what are transactions that failed the fund check, what are the commitment transactions or obligation transactions or expenditure transactions, what's the transaction number, which tells you what's the PO number, requisition number, invoice number, all of those details along with the transaction type and key attributes like supplier for the procure to pay transactions, or if it's a journal based funds check, then the journal source and category, project related details, if it's a project related transaction, all of these are available in the budgetary control transaction, and it will help you also analyze the transactions that failed and understand why it failed and so on, right? To talk about the enhancements that we did in the current release, sorry. Yeah, so to talk about the enhancements that we did in the current release, we have added support of XCC segments in hierarchy. Until the prior release, we only had the accounting, but the budget account string. Now you have the XCC segments in hierarchy, so you can analyze using the segments or the hierarchy as well. For project-based control budgets, we also have the project organization. So these are available in both balances and transactions. We have expenditure category, liquidation, transaction number to understand what transaction is liquidated. Also, we have added activity status instead of the funds check status, which tells you the status of the transaction, why it failed, is it insufficient funds, or if it passed, if it passed the budgetary control validation and so on. Result status will tell you what are those transactions that passed or what transactions failed. We also have added a couple of additional attributes like budget balance and funds available balance to the transactions pack, which tells you at the time of when the transaction went through the funds check, what was the budget balance and how much was available, right? So if there are transactions that have failed the check, just looking at the funds available balance, you will know why it failed. Maybe the transaction amount exceeded the available balance amount and it failed. So those are some additional attributes that are available. Moving on to the project analytics, like Ash mentioned, we have introduced 2 new subject areas, project labor schedules and project labor distribution costs. These are preview. This is a preview feature, and you will need to enable the project labor distribution preview feature and activate the functional area. So for customers who use this feature of labor distribution cost in PPM to distribute the payroll cost, be it from Oracle payroll or external, and distribute the cost to projects or awards. This is going to be an important subject area that you can use. Labor schedule subject area will help you to analyze the schedule rules that you have defined for your pay element or your person assignment or the combination of that. It will tell you what are the schedule rules that are out there, what percentage is allocated to the various projects, awards, or GL account. You can also use the labor schedule to identify what are the labor schedule versions that are going to be end dated soon, or what are the projects that are going to be end dated soon, which is still being used in the labor schedule, and accordingly make those updates. So that's on the labor schedule. And we have the project labor distribution cost, which is going to help you analyze the payroll batches and understand how those payroll batches have been distributed to what projects or tasks, which awards or GL account. All of those analysis can be done. You can also analyze if, let's say, certain transactions have errored out, or what are the errors. All of those details can be analyzed using the project labor distribution cost. Moving on to grants management. This is a feature that has been available as a preview feature since 23.R4. For our grants customer, this is going to be very important to analyze how the grants has been funding the various projects. What is the direct funding amount? What's the indirect funding amount? How much funding has been allocated to the various projects? Are there still amounts that are not allocated? And of the allocated amounts that are funded, how much has been budgeted, what is not yet budgeted, right? How much has been consumed, what's the actual and commitment, all of those details, along with what's remaining and what's the burn rate for this award can be analyzed using this subject area. We are supporting quite a bit of attributes related to awards, even keywords, references, all of those additional things like CFDA, terms and conditions, certifications, institution sponsor, all of those are supported, and the metrics are all supported in the award currency. In terms of the features that we have enhanced in this release, we made updates to the metrics: consumed amount, remaining days, elapsed days, and burn rates. All of these metrics will be calculated for the current budget period only. And the calculations are slightly different for the restricted authority versus the expanded authority. Restricted authority will use the consumed amount will be calculated using your actuals and commitments from the current budget period, versus if it is an expanded authority, then it uses the inception to date amounts. And also there are updates to the organization and personal credit amounts. Previously, irrespective of the level in which it was assigned, it was also always using the total funding amount. Now, if it is assigned at the award level, it will use a total funding amount. And if it's assigned at the project level, it is going to use the project funding amount. Project available amount, which was a metric that was used in the internal calculations, is no longer available. There have been enhancements to keywords and references. So you can search by keyword and reference and bring in awards and projects, and irrespective of the level in which it is assigned, you will be able to pull in the awards as well as the projects and also the metrics and do your analysis. Some key dimensions and attributes that we have added: party and associated contact details are available. Contract header line, bill plan, and revenue plan are added to the awards funding for approved contracts. Burden schedule that is assigned at the award level, award project and award project task level are now available. Award person's person number is available. DFFs have been extended to also award projects, contract headers, contract line, and bill plan. The award project DFF is also available in project costs, commitments, budgets, revenue, and invoices. And then in addition to all of these, we are also supporting the data validation for total funding and project funding amount. So that's it. I will transfer this to Rama.
Thank you, Shobana. So you can see the slides.
Yes, Rama.
Yeah, so I'll be covering procurement and common topics. So under procurement, so we expanded receipt accounting subject area. The receipt accounting subject area was released in 23R4. Now we further enhanced to support accruals. So as we know, the receipt accounting enables business to track and control procurement related financial transactions. So we wanted to get that into FDI. So in order to support that, we have 3 subject areas. One was released in 23R4. It was called receipt accounting. Now we added 2 more subject area, which is called accrual balance at receipt and accrual balance at receipt period end. So with this, we should be able to support transactions, distributions, and accruals. And there are few more enhancements which we are expecting to work in the coming releases. Basically, we want to support the accounting details, and additionally, we want to support some additional attributes on purchase orders and receipts that we are planning to do. So you'll be seeing that shortly. And also, as part of this enhancement, we added a new metric called count for accrued receipt in the receipt accounting subject area. And in order to enable this subject area, or this subject area is available in both ERP SKU as well as in supply chain SKU. So as a receipt accountant, right? So I should be able to analyze my accruals by business unit, by inventory org, by item, by category, and by supply for a given period. And also I can able to see what are my pending POs, or I would say what are my accrual balances which need to be cleared. I could able to see by various dimension. And also I could able to see what are the quantities received and not invoiced. So that also I can see. Now you can see on the right side the dimension supported, various dimensions, by we can dice and slice by business unit, by supplier, inventory org, item, category, and the accrual at receipt subject area, you can able to see how much receipt I've received, which is the accrued quantity, and how much has been invoiced till now. I can see both by quantity and by amount, and also I can see how much accrual is open, means which is not invoiced. I could able to see by different dimensions. Similarly, in accrual at period end subject area, you can see the same details. Additionally, what you can see is the uninvoiced quantity or uninvoiced amount. And in order to activate this subject area, so we need to activate receipt accounting functional area. So with this, these three subject area gets enabled. Moving on to the next one. So enterprise contract was enabled in 23R4. Now we enhanced by adding party and party contacts attribute. So with this, you can able to see the two parties, the customer and the supplier, and also the different party names involved or the roles also is enabled as part of this subject area. And this is available for both ERP and supply chain SKU. And in order to enable this functional area, you have to enable enterprise contract functional area, and this is a preview feature. And the next enhancement is we enhance the category hierarchies. So we have two categories hierarchy, procurement category hierarchy and supplier category hierarchy. So earlier what was happening is each value inside a category, right? So when you sum up, it was not tallying to the grand total. So because this null value was not handled. Basically, for a particular item may not have a category. So that was not considered as part of this enhancement. We considered even the null categories or items or other items which doesn't have category assigned. So that also we consider, so that now the total matches. And this was enabled in these two these two hierarchies got enabled. Now moving to the common topics. So here what we did was, in this enhancement, we did some updates to all the pre-built analysis and pre-built workbook. OAC came with a new feature called single select mandatory filters. So we use those in all our pre-built contents. So example, right, in spend category overview. So we do have something called ledger type name. There we have primary, secondary, and reporting. So whenever you're doing analytics, so it should be by a particular ledger type. You can't use all. So here we are enabling a single select feature. So we have enabled that. And similarly, so we don't want to use all to start rendering. So what we did was we defaulted a value. Earlier, what was happening was it was taking all the BUs. So now in this case, we have chosen whatever is the first business unit available. So we are showing that. So that kind of enhancement was done. And second thing is the dependencies. So example, if you select a calendar, it will show you all the relevant year, and based on the year selected, relevant quarters. So that kind of changes was done across the workbook. And also the time horizon, some places were not consistent. So we made it consistent there. and look and feel in the dashboard, like background color, the look and feel of the fonts or the size, the styles, and the spacings. So we changed those and we made it uniform. So to see all the details of what was changed, you can refer to what's new documentation. In that, we have called out like what and all changes have been done in detail. Next, we saw that there was some performance issues happening, especially with this hierarchy. So what we have done is, for now, we have hidden that in the presentation layer. So if customers are using this, there is no impact. But if you are trying to create any new analysis there, you won't be seeing this. So for now, it is hidden, and we are working on that to get it back. So you'll be seeing the details in the upcoming release. And which and all hierarchies got impacted. So that is available in what's new documentation. There is an attachment available. Please refer for the details. So moving on to the next one. So here we have GL segments and hierarchies. So we have enhanced that. So what we did as part of this enhancement is we saw that the GL segments, there were some performance issues reported internally by our performance team. So considering that, what we did was, initially it was having one big jumbo table was there. So what we did was we split that by segment. That's what we did. Earlier it was one table called DWGL segment D. So now by segments, we have broken it. So with that, we saw that there's a good number of performance improved. And for customers, there is no change. There is no change on the presentation layer. Behind the scene, this change happened. Now, because of this change, there are new tables available. Okay, and you can see the details in the documentation available. Now, old table will be deprecated in 24R4, which is 2 releases away. And if you're using this table, start using this new table, which is called out here. Now, example earlier, if you're using DWGL segment D, so you should start using this table from, we have 10 tables. So you should start using that. And also, as part of this enhancement, we do have tree code and version attributes. So that we have hidden it in 24R2. And you should start using, there is something called, if you're using this, you should start using tree code filters instead of that. And for now, we are hidden, it's hidden, and it will be removed completely in 24R4. And also, when you're trying to do a dimension only query on this, so earlier we had this tilde sign showing up. In this release, what we have done is we have replaced that to show null value. So that's one change we did in the tree segments, segment trees. And there are few deprecations we are planning to do or we have done. So that's the topic I'll be covering now. So this release 24R2, we deprecated these tables, and we had communicated this in previous release. It's not that we are doing now. So this was communicated that this is going to be deprecated, and these tables are deprecated. And on the right side, you can see what you can start using. If you're using this, you should start using this new table with the filter criteria. And similarly, on the AR side, if you're using these columns in the table, you should start using these new columns we have said. If it is not available, it was a derived columns, and we are not supporting those. And the next one is on the AR front. So we started bringing in unaccounted transactions. So this was impacting AR transaction subject area and AR revenue subject area. So we started supporting that. Now earlier it was a separate functional area, still that continues to be there. Now we also enhanced accounts receivable functional area to support unaccounted AR transactions. So if customer enables accounts receivable functional area, even the unaccounted data starts flowing. Starting 24R3, both accounted and unaccounted data will start flowing into AR transactions and AR receivables once you activate AR transaction functional area. And just a heads up that these tables or these columns will not be populating values from 24R3, and these new columns will start having the data. So net, there won't be any impact. These changes will be happening behind the scenes for the out-of-box subject area and the contents. And this is a heads up. In 24R4, this table, the aggregate table, will be deprecated. And just giving a heads up in case you are using this table. So start using this table, and this table covers both accounted and unaccounted data. And also on the fixed asset front, we are planning to deprecate these tables, and the new tables are available. This supports multiple currency, and you should start using this table. In the last slide, so the bugs which are highlighted in bold, Sushil and Shobana had covered in details. There are some minor fixes we did, the first one and the second one. So it's self-explanatory on the details, so please read out. And if you have any questions, let us know. So this is by large what we try to cover in this release. So open to questions. Please.
Okay.
So the content which we covered, it's captured in the link what Jamie has shared, which has all the release content notes. You can look at the what's new section in 24R2 updates, and including the latest platform updates, you would be able to see the summary of what we covered today.
Yeah. Here is what the what's new documentation, and the details are here as what Sushil was saying. So additional details are available in this spreadsheet and this spreadsheets, and whatever was deprecated, it has additional details here. Yeah.
All right. I think, Rama, we are good because we can only answer questions on the chat today. I'm seeing some comments coming up here. Looks like the information shared here was useful. I just want to thank everybody. We're going to hang around here. If you have questions, feel free to ask that through the Q&A option. We will be happy to answer that. But our presentation is complete. I want to thank you for your time. If you have ideas about new features that we should take up as a product, highly encourage you to use the Idea Lab. Jamie has shared that in response to many questions, and look forward to getting release overview and new feature updates on our customer community side in future as well. So with that, thank you. And if you have questions, we'll keep answering here in the Q&A. We'll hang around for a few more minutes.
Shobana, there's a question around project level distribution.
Shall I answer live?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so Shweta, what happens with the project labor distribution cost is that if you are using the feature where you distribute the payroll cost, either from the Oracle payroll or using external payroll, right? If you use the feature to distribute, the distribution related details will be available in the labor distribution cost, where you can also look at understand the details of what labor schedules were used, what are those, what are the payroll batches, if there were any errors, what are the errors. All of those details will be available in the labor distribution cost. Now, once this is distributed, it also becomes an expenditure item, and it gets accounted, and eventually it will be available in the project cost subject area. So that's the difference. It depends on if you're only interested in understanding what is your overall project cost and all of those, you can continue with project cost subject area. But if you want to understand more about the payroll distribution, how it's distributed, what percentage, are there errors, issues, all of those kind of detail analysis, you would want to look at the payroll, the labor distribution cost. Does that help, Shilpa?
Thanks, Shobana. Again, there's no audio, so hopefully.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure you answered the question. So,
Okay.
all right, and
Ash,
I don't.
One more question, Ash.
Oh, there's one more. Why all metrics of subject area is not present in data validation feature to validate between FTI and Fusion source? Do you want to answer that, Rama?
Yeah. So the idea is once the subject area is available, so we want to support for base metrics basically. So with all the base metrics for all the subject area we try to cover. If it is not covered, so we will be looking into it. But most of the place we try to cover the base metrics. And derived metrics we don't need to, because fundamentally if the base metrics are right, the derived metric should work. That's the idea. And we will look into it if it's if any of the.
I think the whole purpose of data validation is, you have enough confidence in the data, what you're seeing in the warehouse, and you have, we really don't want you to spend a lot of time in validating the data between what you have in Fusion versus FTI. It's just to give you a quick head start and confidence on the information. So in terms of the matrix, what you see here, we have tried ensuring you have a coverage on all the functionalities or kind of the data what you see in a particular area. So as Rama mentioned, that's what we mean when we say base matrix, which broadly addresses the functionality.
Thank you, Sushil and Rama. I think that was the last question. We're good for now, and thanks everybody for joining again, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.